If you're an elder millennial, everyone says you're just like other millennials. Avocado toast, participation trophies, entitled and lazy. But here's the truth. Between 1980 and 1995, something happened that can't be replicated. You're the last generation to remember what silence actually sounded like. Here's what analog childhood did to your brain and why that's your superpower. You're 12 years old and your mum drops you off at the mall with $10. Be back here at 4 o'clock, she says. No cell phone, no way to reach you, no way for you to reach her. You just disappear into the building for 3 hours, and nobody panicked. Today, parents track their kids with GPS. But you learnt to track time by instinct and trust your own judgment without a safety net. This wasn't carelessness. This was the last generation raised to function independently in a world that no longer exists. But that independence wasn't just physical. It shaped how your brain processes connection itself. Think about the last time you had to memorize a phone number. Not save it, memorize it. You had to, because if you didn't, you couldn't call anyone. You're standing in your friend's kitchen, stretching the coiled yellow phone cord as far as it'll go, trying to get some privacy. But first, you have to get past the gatekeeper. Their mum answers. You have to use your polite voice, state your name, and ask, "Is Sarah there?" You're 13 years old, and you're already navigating adult social protocols just to talk to your friend. And if it's long distance, you're watching the clock. Every minute costs money. You learn to say what matters and hang up. Today, communication is infinite and free. Texts, calls, video chats, all instant, all unlimited. But you learn that communication has weight, that words are worth something when they cost something. You built an internal economy of attention that Gen Z will never develop because they've never had to ration connection. And this is just the beginning of what makes you different. And that scarcity didn't just apply to communication. It applied to your entire existence. You come home from school, the house is empty, there's a note on the counter, be home by dinner. That's it. No structure, no schedule, no supervised activities. You have 4 hours to fill, and there's nothing to do. The TV has 5 channels, and none of them are good right now. There are no notifications, no text, no endless scroll. Just you and the empty afternoon. So you grab your bike and ride to your friend's house. Not because you planned it, not because you texted first. You just show up, and if they're not home, you ride somewhere else. You find someone. You make something happen. Today's kids have their afternoons mapped out like corporate schedules, piano lessons, tutoring, organized sports. But you were handed an empty canvas called boredom, and boredom made you creative. You learned that if you wanted something to happen, you had to make it happen. No one was coming to entertain you. This built a self-reliance that's becoming extinct. You learned to generate your own purpose instead of waiting for an app to deliver it. Here's what makes you psychologically different from every generation before and after. You lived in both worlds. You remember making plans on a landline and having to keep them because there was no way to cancel last minute. If someone didn't show up, they were just gone. No explanation. You'd wait 20 minutes and then leave. But then you got your first cell phone. Maybe it was a Nokia, maybe a Motorola Razr. And suddenly, everything changed. Now, you could cancel. You could be late. You could change plans midstream. And at first, it felt like freedom. But you watched something die in that transition. You watched commitment become optional. You watched presence become negotiable. And because you remember what it was like before, you feel the loss. Younger generations think flakiness is just a personality trait. But you know it's systemic. It's what happens when showing up stops being the only option. You carry the memory of a world where your word was the only technology you had, and that makes you different. But what those two worlds created in you, that's where this gets powerful. This is why you're caught between two worlds. You were raised for analog, but you live in digital. You were taught that if something broke, you fixed it. That if you wanted to know something, you had to learn it and remember it. That if you made plans, you kept them. These weren't values, they were survival skills in a world with no backup systems. But now you exist in a world where everything is retrievable, replaceable and reversible. And psychologically, you can't fully adapt because your foundation was built differently. You still feel guilty when you cancel plans via text. You still remember phone numbers. You still feel the need to show up. And this creates a quiet exhaustion that no one talks about. You're fluent in both languages, analog and digital, but neither one is fully home anymore. So when you feel like you don't quite belong in this world, remember this: you're not outdated. You're not stuck in the past. You're carrying capabilities that are vanishing. While the world chases constant contact, you remember what it felt like to be unreachable. While everyone curates their digital identity, you remember who you were when no one was watching. While Gen Z needs a notification to feel real, you learn to trust yourself in an empty house with nothing but time. You're the bridge generation, the translators, the last witnesses to a world that only exists now in memory. And that doesn't make you old, it makes you rare. You were the last analog minds, and you've been carrying that weight quietly ever since.